What's going on, CDL fans? Today I'm bringing you my 2022 CDL Awards for the regular season. This is a video I love making and I want to do every single year for the CDL, going through all the top awards that you can predict and also some awards I made up myself. Hopefully you enjoy. Drop a like if you like this content and subscribe for more. Let's head on over to the presentation. I'm going to turn off my camera so you can really see this amazing presentation I put together. So here we have the 2022 Vanguard CDL Awards presented by myself, Jake Maverick. Let's get first on into the possible awards. As you can see, we have 7 awards ranging from MVP, Rookie of the Year, Most Improved, all the way down to Player of the Year for each game mode and Underrated Player of the Year. I want to preface that not only did I take into account stats, but this is also based off of my own eye test. Watching most of the matches this year, I feel like I have a really good understanding of each player and team and who deserves to win each award. Enough talking, let's hop right into our first award. We have our MVP nominees. We have 3 nominees for each award. For the MVP, we have Celium, Dashy, and Pred, 3 of the best players this season, 2 of which led their team to a major victory. But my MVP goes to none other than Celium. He was the best player on the best team all year long. If you look at the standings, FaZe are #1 on the standings. You can see major placements down at the bottom. I mean, all top 3s, which is the most consistent team throughout the entire year, as well as he had the first in overall KD, first hardpoint KD, first SND KD, and second in control KD. So easily the best statistical player, and just watching him on the map, definitely I think the best player this season. If you want to argue Dashy or Pred because they won a major, you can totally do that. That is definitely fine, but I gave it to Celium because he was the best player on the #1 team throughout the entire year. Moving along to our Rookie of the Year nominees, we have 2 of the boys from the Seattle Surge, Simp and Pred, as well as Gizmo from the London Royal Ravens. I thought the rookie class this year was really good. We saw Nero and Capsule did solid for the Boston Breach. We saw, Dave Patty in Florida who looked decent. We saw tons of good rookies this year, but I think you all know who's coming for Rookie of the Year. It's going to be Pred. Most consistent player on the Seattle Surge, without a doubt. You can see his KD stats there, doing pretty good throughout the entire year. SND KD, obviously a little bit above middle of the pack, but the rest of his stats look really good. And then you can see his major placements. I mean, there's a first place in there. Being a rookie, winning a major is definitely something to be accomplished about, and that's why I have Pred as my Rookie of the Year. Moving right along into Most Improved Player nominees. Now, these are players based on Most Improved from last year Cold War to this year Vanguard. We have Temp, Havoc, and Accuracy, all of which had not great years last year, but turned it up this year, and my Most Improved player for Vanguard goes to Havoc. Last year, you can see how his stats changed from last year to this year right now on the screen. Last year, Havoc was not very good for the Florida Mutineers. This year, he came in halfway through the year and ended up being one of the better players for the Minnesota Rocker in the later half of the year. You can see he did not play in the first 2 majors, but helped them get a 7/8 in the 3rd major, and then obviously, unfortunately, went out T12 at Major 4 and won't be at Champs. But simply looking at the statistics and also just watching him on the map, you can see how much better Havoc looked in Vanguard compared to Cold War. Moving right along to our SND Player of the Year nominees. Now, this is what I think is the best player in SND's entire year. You can see your nominees on the screen: Celium, Shotzi, and Kleenex. All 3 of these guys were amazing at Search and Destroy this year, but only one of them can win my Player of the Year, and that is going to go to Shotzi. He was definitely the playmaker for Optic, who ended up being one of the better Search and Destroy teams this year. You can see his stats on screen. I mean, he had the most kills per 9 rounds out of the entire league. He made up it's the 3rd best in team kill percentage, 2nd best in kills per round. He was an awesome SND player this year and definitely deserving of this SND Player of the Year award. Moving along to our Hardpoint Player of the Year, Dashy, Celium, staples in these awards, obviously, as well as Awakening, who played really individually well in Hardpoint. Of course, Florida didn't end up making Champs and didn't have the best season, but Awakening looked dominant in Hardpoint. But there's only one Player of the Year, and that is going to go to Celium, Hardpoint Player of the Year. You can see he was #1 obviously in KD, #1 in plus minus per 10 minutes, #1 in damage per life. One of the best players in Hardpoint easily this year, and personally what I think was the best. Super consistent and always a threat on the map, and when it comes to respawn or SND, this guy is a god. For our Control Player of the Year nominees, Dashy and Celium once again, as well as Zinni Methods, who was another another dominant control player this year, and the winner is Dashy, easily the best control player. I mean, you look at the stats, they speak for themselves. Number 1 control KD, number 1 plus minus per 10 minutes, number 1 damage per life, is number 4 in non-traded kills per 10 minutes. Just one of the best control players, easily by far the best control player in my opinion this year. Always consistent, very rarely had a negative map when it came to control, especially in the beginning of the year. The first half of the year, he was literally a walking 2 KD on Tuscan control, one of the best control players we have ever seen in the CDL. And our final award, underrated player of the year. This is a player that I think did not get the praise they deserved. I think went kind of under the radar most of the year, had their times where people are like, wow, this person's doing really, really well, but definitely wasn't talked about enough. You can see Slasher, Attach, and Zinni on the screen. But for me, my underrated player here is Slasher. Now, if you look at his stats, it might not look the best. I mean, he was tied with Celium for number 1 SND KD this year. I did not know that until I did this research. Obviously, I mean, top 20 in most stats, which is better than half of the league for sure. They obviously won an event, but the reason I think Slasher's underrated player of the year is because pretty much the entire season long, everyone was calling for him to get dropped. He never did get dropped. It was Gunless, Asim, Spart, who came in, got dropped, came in. Everyone wanted Slasher gone because they thought he was holding back the team. But when you end up watching these games, looking at the stats, looking at how they ended up playing this year, Slasher was a staple, was the guy who held it down for the LA Gorillas. And yes, they didn't make COD champs, but they able to win a major, and he looked solid all year long. Here is our recap for the 2022 CDL Awards. I mean, I think all of these players were deserving of the awards that I gave them. If you disagree, let me know in the comments. If you think someone else should have won any of these awards, for sure, let me know. But yeah, that is gonna do it for my 2022 CDL Awards. Like I said, let me know in the comments who you have for things like MVP, Rookie of the Year. It'll be interesting to see how this goes. These are regular season awards, so they don't need to count COD champs in. I'm excited to see who ends up winning like All-Stars and Rookie of the Year and MVP officially from the CDL. I have a feeling it's gonna be people that we pretty much all expect. Obviously, I think there were some standouts this year, but if you enjoyed, drop a like, subscribe for more CDL and Call of Duty content, and I'll see you in the next one.